Hello, everyone. My name is Monty Nima, and I'm a junior here in the state of Michigan at Novi High School. Welcome to our 2020 Tech Series, and thank you all so much for joining us.
Hi, my name is Hirji, and I'm also a junior at Novi High School. We're so excited to be your moderators today for this panel.
Today we have our inspiring speaker, Meghan Mehta, who is a developer advocate at Google. Meghan, would you like to give everyone a little introduction about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Meghan. I live in San Francisco and I work at the San Francisco Google as an Android developer advocate. And before that, I worked at Yelp, Disney, Foursquare, PwC, Northrop Grumman. I really liked interning.
That's so cool. Our first question for you is, what does your day-to-day job look like?
So the cool thing about my job is it changes all the time. I don't have like a straight software engineering role. Lately, it has been a lot of coding. So what I've been doing is I've been putting together resources and creating resources for people to learn new Android technologies. But other days of my work schedule could be writing a script for an informational video. I could be shooting an informational video. Sometimes I'm preparing a talk or giving a talk. So I really like my job because there's so many different things I could be doing in a given day.
That's really cool. So since you have a lot of experience in the tech field, do you have any programs that you recommend for either high school students to take advantage of, or even students who are in college?
So for students in high school and college, I just say start interning. Just start getting experience any way you can. And I know your first internships are probably going to be the hardest ones to get because you're like, I want to do this. I don't have a lot of experience yet, but you're just excited and you want to get started. So I think for your first internship, just try to reach out to everybody in your network that works in tech. So for my first internship, I reached out to, my cousins and my friends and anyone older than me that had a job in tech. I reached out to them. I was like, let me do this. Let me get in there and help out so I can learn. And that's how I got my first 2 internships. And from there, you learn a lot. And then the other internships come a lot easier. And I think if you're not there yet and you're not comfortable interning yet, there's so many resources online. You can learn any technology online for free. So take advantage of it. Just start learning things, start creating things, and then go into being an internship. Then go into an internship.
That's so informative to just how you can get started and reach out to people. Can you tell us more about your journey as a female leader in the STEM fields?
Yeah. A leader, what do you mean by leader?
Just as a female in the tech field, working with computer science, because I feel like just many girls just don't think that STEM is a girl kind of job, and it's still okay, we just lost you for a second, but it's good now. Just working with gender equality in the STEM fields.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just never saw myself being an engineer when I left high school. I was going to be a singer, or I was going to do something very artistic. I never saw this being my life. Because I did see it as a very male oriented field. So once my mind started changing and I started being oh no, I want to build things, I want to create things. I did see that STEM was very male dominated once I started working. And it was great to have my mom, because my mom is also an engineer and also really faced that oppression of women in a much worse way, because it was a long time ago. So having her be there and be you know, like you just gotta keep going. You gotta just like show them like that you can do the work. That was really good for me. And then also just like finding the other network of other people. So, you know, like some jobs you will be the only female developer. And those jobs are hard. It's hard because like sometimes you just like need women around you. So in those times, I really leaned on my online forums of support. So there's like Facebook groups, there's Instagram, you know, like I found such a great community of women to lean on when I was in those positions and there was no other women.
Going off of that, just like what has been your journey like in STEM just as a leader? So like in your job itself, like what projects do you work on? Like sort of what has your experience been? Like are there any like cool projects you've been working on or that type of thing?
Yeah, so I think the project I was most excited to help with was a online Android course. So it's a free course on Udacity, Advanced Android Kotlin. It's something like that. It's a free course on Udacity, and I was so excited to work on it because like I was able to help people that didn't have like a lot of resources learn about that technology. So I worked on a course that taught people how to use Google Maps and how to use geofencing. Made that into a video course. And then I also went to India and I spoke about it in 3 different parts of India. So like being able to like work on things that have such high impact, like, you know, like I make a video course, but then thousands of people from that can learn about Google Maps. And like, I can't think of anything that's more rewarding than that.
So I just think it's so inspiring that you've been able to reach so many people, like not only here, but also in other countries. And also like in terms of students preparing for the workforce, how did you land your job at Google and what advice do you have for students who want to pursue similar types of a career path?
Yes, I will say having a strong LinkedIn is so important. I didn't apply to Google. Like a recruiter reached out to me for my specific team. So it's not the usual way people get into Google. But if you have a strong LinkedIn profile, like offers just come to you sometimes, which is really great. So like it was an easier way to get in to like the interview stage, but then I studied really hard for that interview. I did a lot of lead code. Lead code premium is worth it. If you're on the fence about it, you should get lead code premium. I just did that, and there's a good website called Pramp where you can do peer-to-peer interviews. So a combination of lead code and Pramp was what I did to get that interview, to like nail the interview.
So what did you say it was called? Like what, like how do you spell that?
PRAMP.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if I heard you correctly.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's really cool. So since you were talking about like having a strong LinkedIn, do you have like any advice or suggestions for how students can build like a strong LinkedIn network or like in general like a strong profile?
Yeah, absolutely. So like your LinkedIn is kind of like your resumes. So you should have like your experience should be summed up into like very concise bullet points, but concise bullet points that say a lot. So like you want to address what you did, what technologies you used to do it, and what the outcome was. Anything else is kind of fluff at that point. So like you want to just be as like clear as possible, like whatever experience you have, sum it up into some bullet points that like that convey that. That's really helpful. And then, you know, if you don't have an internship, it's not the end of the world. Like work on a project, and put that on your LinkedIn. Like that's completely fine. Link to the GitHub. You can do that. Make sure that like you have below, you can say what skills you're good at. Make sure like those are pretty up to date. so that people know, because like sometimes people are like looking for iOS developer or Android developer. So if those skills are there and are uploaded well, then that's really helpful for you to come up in keyword searches.
Okay. I think that's great advice. Our next question for you is, how does college and high school play a role in terms of the bigger picture at big jobs like Google? And how can students really maximize their college and high school experience to be ready for big jobs?
I think what I can say is that take the time in college and high school, one, to get really strong at your fundamentals, but really to learn how you learn, which feels kind of meta to say, but there will probably, like, there's not going to be an internship that you walk into and then you're doing exactly what you did in your college courses or your high school courses. Every internship, like, you're learning a new language, you're learning a new framework, you're learning, like, even like I work in Android, there's so many things in Android to learn. So like, you know, you could be a professional Android developer and you're still learning every single day. So learn, like, am I better learning by reading, by doing videos? Am I better learning by just like taking code and playing around with it? That's what's going to get you like far in life. Just being a really good student.
I think that's like really great advice in terms of like really knowing your strengths and like how you can work those to your advantage. Do you have any other general advice in terms of like career or school or college, or just like in general, any advice that you have?
Yeah. I think something that held me back a lot when I was younger was I didn't want to do the thing, or like I didn't want to submit the thing until it was perfect. And you know, you gotta let that go because like done is better than perfect, and like just go and start doing things and start making things and make mistakes. But like, you know, like put out the first iteration of an app, you know, you'll get feedback on it and you'll make the second iteration better. But a lot of times fear of not having it perfect the first time will stop you from doing anything at all. And like, I cannot like stress enough, just do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great advice and really inspirational to just like not be afraid and not doubt yourself and like what you have, just like believe in it. We really appreciate you being here, and thank you for all your great advice.
Yeah, like we learned so much just from like this interview, and we're just really grateful to have such awesome, inspiring panelists to be a part of our tech series.